It's the same, I think, with the district, and I think that what you see is education entrepreneurs, true, saying we want to address an issue that happens right now versus the challenge that we know is there of bringing together all of the things that Dr. Johnson so ably listed out that we know we need to do, but that we have not done yet. And so that to the extent that we would wait another 10, 20 years to certify that we are going to do all of those things that she listed out for those kids, then we can have interventions to address that for some of the kids while we continue to work on it, as we've all said that we need to do for the majority of our kids. And on that route, be able to find and identify ways that we can do that effectively and build those opportunities and those options and tools to scale that we know we need in the traditional public school system.
I think that the conversation is one that I would like to see tomorrow. I'd like to see your position on the entrepreneurship of this, and let's move it on, because we have not heard from we heard from the presenters, but we have not heard from the people who have been here for hours. And I'd like to hear from some parents or other folks to talk about, because we can argue about the entrepreneur
Thank you.
part of
Thank
it
you.
forever.
Excellent job. We have two more presenters, and you guys know we're running out of time. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, take your 2-minute break. Okay, all right. What do we want to? We can take. Yeah, we can. What we'll do. Okay, while she is gone, I have two more presenters. I have Dr. Earl Watkins and Dr. Merwin Scott, but I won't ask the presenters to do anything. What I'm going to ask is I'm going to go to our list, because we've got more folks on our list than we're going to be able to get to. So I'm going to work on our list for comments, and you're supposed to have, you know, you sign up for 2 minutes worth of comments. If you've only got a minute worth of comment, let's just talk a minute so you'll have somebody, give somebody else an opportunity. The first person on here is Tikela Rucker, Tikerla, United Education Association, and she's an educator. Would you stand with your comment? Yes, ma'am. Come get the mic.
Good evening. My name is Tikela Rucker. I'm an educator, and I also serve as the president of the United Education Association. I speak today as an educator and a parent. As an advocate of social and civil justice, I advocate for equity for all children, and it's very disheartening that we are having a discussion, this type of discussion as it relates to our children. I believe that people that have the best interest of students in mind understand that the battle is not against charter schools, but a system that is inadequately funding all public schools. However, it is evident that some of the funding that go to charter schools, they are siphoning funds from traditional schools that have an impact on public education. I want to say I believe it's just that if charter schools receive public funding, that they are held accountable just as well as public education. And I also want to say that I believe it's time that we advocate together for to receive equitable funding for all public schools, because this is just another systematic tactic to cause division.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. Laura Ross, Memphis Lift. Okay. Okay.
She's back.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna go back 4 of these. Good evening.
I'm Laura Ross. I'm a parent, I thought I spoke loud enough. But some are in the public school system, and some are in the charter school system. Let me tell my story, and then you'll see why I'm so passionate about what I'm doing. My son is 13 now, and I have a 9-year-old grandson. They were in the public school system. My son has always was an A-B student at the top of the list. But for some reason, his conduct wasn't good. My grandson started in the Head Start at the public school system. His conduct wasn't good. My granddaughter, no problem. She like a grandma. No problem at all. But I kept wondering what was going on with them. So finally, when he graduated from the 5th grade, Freedom Prep approached me. So I got him in Freedom Prep. Not only was he doing great in his academics, but his grade came up in conduct. That's because they were challenging him. They put a challenge on him about his conduct. If you do it like this, then you got this to do. They kept him busy. My grandson couldn't read. When he went to Freedom Prep, he couldn't even read. This child was in the 3rd grade, come from the public school system, could not read. Right now, every day he's coming in, Grandma, let me read this to you. He's only been there 2 years.
Give her a round of applause.
I support the charter school. And then just recently, last month, my 13-year-old son had a mental nervous breakdown. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go, where to take him. I took him to Labana. They sent him back home. I went to the principal at Freedom Prep. He started that Friday evening. We went all day that Friday at school. This gentleman came to my house, 6:30 in the evening. I live on Delta and Ford Road in the hood, y'all. Okay? This man came to my house, and he sat down for 2 hours trying to help me figure out what was going on with my son. He went to St. Francis, got out. My son went to school today.
Very good. Thank you.
But he was supposed to went back yesterday. I'm going to say this. But the principal called, said, don't let him come today. Bring him tomorrow. Let him come tomorrow, because we're going to sit down and discuss with his classmates and his teachers how to handle the situation.
Thank you very much.
I don't get that from the public school.
Thank you. Thank you both for your great information. At this time, we're going to go back to the presenters. And the next presenter is Mr. Earl Watkins. And Mr. Watkins, his career has included roles as adjunct professor of educational leadership at Jackson State University in Mississippi, math curriculum coordinator, principal of middle and high schools, formerly superintendent of Jackson Public Schools, and he does a dynamic job as the Mississippi State Education Chair. So Dr. Earl Watkins, you're on.
Thank you, President Sweetlove, and members of the education panel. I'm glad to have this opportunity to represent the state of Mississippi in this conversation. Before I talk through my prepared comments, I have to voice as a parent the ongoing concern that we are hearing in this room today, and I think we should all be concerned, whether we are charter school supporters or not, that we have been put at odds with each other over the education of our children, and that simply should not be. Our common mission is to ensure that every child is blessed with a quality education so that child can be successful. And it is incumbent upon all of us to ensure that black and brown children in high poverty in rural communities and urban communities get what they need. And what we have to recognize that we are educating children in a system that was not originally designed to educate them. When we come to realize that we are still to some degree, as some of us discussed earlier today, as a race of people, we are still traumatized by our past. And now we're taking on certain mindsets, leaving our own behind. And when once we were educated by educators who knew how to teach us that the struggle is still real, some of us who have gotten what we have forgotten that we need to take others with us on the way to getting a quality education. That is why I have a problem with how we have been pit at odds with each other. So when I speak on behalf of the Mississippi State Conference, NAACP, I don't speak on behalf of our state conference from an adversarial position, but from a concern that we have to ensure that the system that we are building serves all children well. So as I start down my prepared comments, I did a little research and I looked at the website of the National Alliance of Public Charter Schools, and it stated that charter schools are unique public schools that are allowed the freedom to operate and to be innovative, and they are allowed to ensure that they're advancing student achievement. But at the core of the charter school model itself is the belief that public schools should be held accountable, as we believe that all schools should be held accountable. And in exchange for this accountability, charter school leaders are given the freedom to do whatever it takes. Now, embedded in this message is an admission, I believe, by charter school advocates that the current governing